That's my favorite golf shot, a little draw. You need to be a one-shot wonder. We're going to talk about that, how you can become a one-shot wonder. You want to either hit a draw or a fade. Slight draw, slight fade. Not a slice and not a snap hook. Both of those are terrible. They're terrible. You can't play golf with that. But just stop and think about it. If you can consistently hit one shot, a draw or a fade, you've eliminated essentially half the trouble. All you got to do is look on the right side if you draw the ball, because you're never going to hit it over there. Left side, you fade the ball, because you're never going to hit it over there. So let's learn how to be a one-shot wonder. And we're going to work on the theory that you're going to become like Ben Hogan or Lee Trevino, the two greatest shot makers of all time. Let's talk about them. The fade, the left to right shot for the right-hander. Lee Trevino said it this way, said it best. He says, you can talk to a fade, a hook just won't listen. You know, it just runs into trouble. You know that when you've come over the top and hit that pull hook. Hogan loved the fade, the little left to right shot, because for years he fought that hook, fought it terribly, and he finally came to the conclusion that the only way he was going to be a big time winner on the PGA Tour was to hit this slight fade, a power fade, and it was low, so was Trevino's, but both of them became great champions because they never had to worry about anything on this side of the fairway. There could be a lake, there could be out of bounds, whatever. They were going to go either straight and just trickle a little bit to the right. What a great feeling that is. Two different concepts, and yet pretty much the same concept. It has to do with the lead hand. In the case of a right-hander, it's the left hand. Of course, the lead hand for a left-hander is this one, but the principle is exactly the same. That is, the lead hand cannot turn over. In other words, it cannot do that. So it has to keep leading all the way through. Trevino said he just took the back of the left hand and pointed it just a little bit to the right of the target. So if the back of the left hand stays all the way, this club face, which mirrors the back of the left hand, it's not going to do that. If it turns over, it's a hook, a snap hook, and you are done.
And I've always had a saying, and is you can talk to a fade, but a hook won't listen, you see, and so there's no sense in hooking the ball because it's very inconsistent to hook the ball, and the reason for it is simply because the hands tend to pronate. People tend to be taught to pronate going back and then pronate going forward. And what they seem to forget is that always, anytime you grip a golf club, you will see the face of the club and the back of the left hand point in the same direction. In other words, so what do you have here is you have two golf clubs. You have a face there, and you have a face here. I hit a golf ball with this golf club.
Back of your left hand.
Sure,
yeah.
Because what happens is wherever this left hand goes, that's what influences that. If this left hand turns here, the club face turns. The most important thing about golf is the acceleration of the back of the left hand to the target, or parallel with a line with the target, because if this accelerates to the parallel line that you want to go to, then that club face has to go on that line.
If Trevino loved the back of the left hand to keep the ball from turning over and hooking, Hogan liked the raised left wrist. In other words, like this. Raising the wrist at impact meant that that club could not turn over, but had to stay straight. A little complicated, but you can use the back of the left hand or the raised left wrist to make sure that the ball is going straight or a little bit left to right. But if you want to do both, I think it's all in the thumbs. So we talk about the thumb on the lead hand, left-handed thumb for right-handed players. If this thumb is pointing this way behind you at impact, that club face is never going to close and that ball is never going left. And oh, you can hit such straight shots, maybe even just a little tiny fade. But that thumb behind you really works. On the other hand, if you'd prefer to draw the ball, hit it from right to left, left to right if you're left-handed, but just take that thumb on the lead hand and point it that way. Instead of being like this, you're like this. And we'll get a beautiful draw out of this. Oh, yes. So remember, it's thumbs up and be a one-shot wonder. Decide which one you're going to play. You're going to hook the ball or you're going to fade the ball. One or the other, but either way, whatever you choose, you're going to be absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining us on Absolutely Amazing Golf. And remember, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Talk to your friends. Get them to join us because I'm having a lot of fun. I hope you are too. And we are learning a lot about golf, aren't we? And as Harvey Pennick said, if you love golf, you're my friend.